I am always pleased when I get a chance to address a room full of writers, so thank you for inviting me here. To tell you the truth, though, I thought I was just coming to do a workshop, to stand up here and talk about how you find your voice as a writer or some such typical topic. And it wasn't until they had me roped in that the organizers of this here event told me that what they really wanted me to do was give a speech that would, and I quote, inspire you. So please be advised that I am here to inspire you. Following this, I will part the Intracoastal Waterway. I will feed 5,000 people with half a McDonald's fish sandwich, and I will send the Miami Dolphins to the Super Bowl. As long as we're talking miracles, let's dream big. Let me put it to you like this. The publishing industry is dealing right at this point with an extremely difficult financial situation where money is tight and confidence is low and people are really scared for their futures. The newspaper industry wishes it was that well off. The newspaper as we know it is in the process of dying. We are seeing massive layoffs, we are seeing epic downsizing, and we are seeing a climate of abject depression, uncertainty, and fear. Walking through the average newspaper newsroom is like walking through a cemetery, except that the bodies are propped up in front of computer screens. That's pretty much the only difference. Now, if having heard that makes you say, wait a minute, what was I thinking? Let me, reshape my life plan so that I can get into a career that makes some sense. Well, then, congratulations. You are a sane person, and I wish you every good fortune in your new career as a lawyer or as a CPA. If, however, having heard that makes you shrug like the captain of the Titanic when they told him that there were icebergs out there somewhere, well then, my condolences. You are a crazy person, and you probably have a future as a writer. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the idea of making your living by the written word has always required you to be a little bit crazy. Not barking at garbage trucks crazy, not I saw Elvis at Pizza Hut sharing a pepperoni with Tupac crazy, but crazy enough to carry a book to a barbecue. Crazy enough to have spent long minutes pondering the eternal conundrum, long dash versus semicolon. Crazy enough to hear music where other people see only words. Even before the publishing business started melting like a sandcastle under an ocean wave, being a writer required a certain amount of craziness. Writing, after all, requires that you sentence yourself to solitary confinement so that while everybody else is in another part of the house watching American Idol, you're bouncing a baseball off the wall trying to think of a suitable synonym for orange. It requires that you work days or weeks or even years without feedback from the people that you're working for, i.e. the readers, to let you know whether you are doing something that is truly worthwhile or whether you might as well have been with the rest of the family phoning in your support for Clay Aiken or Sanjaya. It requires that you do all of this in the knowledge and indeed the expectation that you're not going to get rich doing it, and indeed that you might not even be able to make the rent. It requires the ability to grit your teeth and not kill anybody when they suggest, as my sister used to do repeatedly, when are you going to go get a real job? And because it requires all of that, it requires one thing more than all of that. It requires that you love it. You had better love it. You had better need it. Because otherwise, I'm here to tell you, you were just wasting your time. I used to have a colleague, her name was Tananarive Due. Tananarive wrote the singles column for the Miami Herald until she, got married, and that kind of killed that gig. But, she got married, she moved with her husband to the West Coast, where she now makes her living as a novelist. And one time we were talking about how people will come up to you sometimes and say, gosh, I've always thought that I'd like to write. Now me, I always tell such people to go and get a copy of Writer's Market and get a subscription to Writer's Digest and, read a lot and practice a lot. And that is good advice, it is practical advice. But I've always thought that the advice that Tananarive gave them was truer in the long run, because she tells them, don't bother. She tells them, don't waste their time. Because see, if all you've got going for you is, I've always thought I'd like to be a writer, you don't have nearly enough. If all you've got is this sort of vague desire, it will not be enough, it will not be sufficient to see you through the rejection letters, the writer's block, the fights with editors, the low pay, the frustration of searching half an hour for the right word that just won't come, the fact that you're going to miss very many hours of American Idol. Desire is not enough. You need to have a need. And if you have that need, then chances are you are already writing. That's why I'm always suspicious when people come up to me and say, Mr. Pitts, I'm an aspiring writer. There is no such thing as aspiring. You're either writing or you are not. If you are a writer or you are not. Maybe you've got a Nobel Prize and you've got so many Pulitzers that you use them for doorstops and you walk to your office each day over the bodies of critics who have prostrated themselves before you. Or maybe your desk is the dryer in the laundry room where you sit the laptop and try to hammer out a few words while the children are hollering and the baby's crying and the laundry is going through its cycle. It doesn't matter. The one is published, yes, and the other is only dreaming of being published. The one is celebrated, yes, and the other is only dreaming of that. But neither of them is aspiring. They both are writers. From my sons, I've learned an expression. My son uses this expression, game knows game. When I asked them to translate that into baby boomer, into aging baby boomer, as if there's any other kind, I guess. When I asked them to translate that into baby boomer, I understood that to mean that a person who is devoted to achieving excellence in a craft recognizes that same trait in someone else. Game knows game. An actor sees another actor differently than you and I do. An athlete sees another athlete differently than you and I do. You and I see the polish and the shine. We see greatness that looks effortless. They see the craft and the commitment and the technique and the work. Similarly, when people who don't know anything about the craft of writing see the finished product, they see something that looks like it just flowed out of you in one great godly rush. The ceiling opened, there was a white shaft of light that enveloped you, and the voice of God said, I'll dictate, you type. They see a combination of words and that looks easy and indeed that looks inevitable. You and I see the hours spent banging your head at the screen, on the screen, or we see the final edit, the one that you do after the final edit, that last run through to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed. We see the work to make the sentences leaner than they are, to make the jokes punchier than they are. We see this need to know that when this thing goes out, when it is published, when it is in concrete final form, that it represents the absolute best that you had to give in you at that particular day and time. We see the need to always be a little bit better than yesterday. Now, if you're one of those aspiring writers, one of those folks who always thought that maybe someday you'd like to write, maybe you're having second thoughts right now. Maybe you're saying to yourself, well, geez, that does not sound like a whole lot of fun. We have this expression, writing is not fun. Having written is. Having written is a ball. There was this other expression too. There's this other expression, writing is like banging your head against a brick wall because it feels so good when you finally stop. So it's not fun. That's why you need a need. That's why it helps to be a little crazy. When they asked me for a title for what I'd be talking about today, I went with a play on a song that the Temptations did back in 1964. For you very young ones out there who did not get the joke, the tune that they did was called The Way You Do the Things You Do. I went for the why we do the things we do, because I was trying to be cute or whatever. And because I thought it was a halfway, decent way of addressing that compulsion that some of us feel toward the craft of writing. But it occurred to me after I'd phoned in that title that I might have struck closer to the truth if I had gone with the title of the song that Paul Simon did in 1975. Still Crazy, after all these years.